an ideal for which I am prepared to die.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're looking at people from modern history who found success by enduring hardships that would break most of us.
Hate is self-destructive. If you hate somebody, you're not hurting the person you hate, you're hurting yourself.
Wilma Rudolph.
Wilma Rudolph shattered women's records whenever she performed.
Before she became the fastest woman in the world, Wilma Rudolph had to learn how to walk. Born premature in 1940, she later contracted polio as a child. The disease left her with a twisted leg. Doctors said she'd never walk again, but Rudolph flat out refused to listen. By age 12, she stopped using her leg brace. By 16, she was running at the Olympics. 4 years later, she attended her second Olympic Games in Rome. There, she became the first American woman to win 3 track and field gold medals in a single year. She would go on to fight for desegregation and spent the rest of her life dedicated to training future generations of child athletes. Stephen Hawking.
They asked me about my future plans. I replied, if they gave me a first, I would go to Cambridge.
Stephen Hawking will forever be known for having one of the most brilliant minds. The brilliant theoretical physicist was diagnosed with motor neuron disease at 21. As the decades progressed, his condition gradually left him with paralysis. Throughout his life, he continued to make groundbreaking contributions to cosmology, helping humanity understand our universe. He was allegedly forced to endure further hardships in his personal life as his career took off.
Although my increasing disabilities were greatly affecting my life more and more, I was fiercely reluctant to accept nursing care.
After divorcing his first wife, Jane, he married his nurse, Elaine Mason, in 1995. During their marriage, allegations of physical abuse surfaced, leading to political investigations. Hawking denied these claims and no charges were filed.
I have a strong feeling that disabled people should not be discriminated against and should have assistance with their difficulties.
Malala Yousafzai.
Let me say the words the Taliban never wanted her to hear. Happy 16th birthday, Malala.
Malala Yousafzai was only a kid when she took a stand against one of the most oppressive groups on earth. At the tender age of 11, she anonymously started speaking out against the Taliban's oppression in Pakistan's Swat Valley. Her father, also an education activist, had taught her to use her voice in defense of girls' right to be educated. Her rising fame made her a target.
There is a moment when you have to choose whether to be silent or to stand up.
In 2012, a Taliban gunman boarded her school bus and shot her in the head. Miraculously, she survived. Instead of silencing her, the attack only amplified her voice. Malala became a global symbol of resistance, winning the Nobel Peace Prize at 17. She continued her activism, proving that no bullet could stop her from fighting.
She had become septic. It was obvious that she had a very serious life-threatening infection.
Zampirini.
Japan followed American athletes closer than Americans did. It would better serve Japan's purpose to send Zampirini on to Japan to become a prisoner of war and to make broadcasts. That's why my life was spared.
The phrase running for his life took on new meaning for Zampirini, an Olympic athlete turned World War II airman. He survived a plane crash only to spend 47 days lost at sea. While stranded, he and his crewmates fended off both sharks and starvation. Zampirini was ultimately captured by the Japanese. Locked away in a POW camp, he was subjected to 2 years of unbearable torture.
I always wanted to come to Tokyo. Careful what you wish for, fellow.
Sadly, freedom and the war's end brought little peace to Zampirini. Haunted by PTSD, he found himself with alcohol use disorder and rage. Eventually, Louis found his faith and through God also found his way to forgiveness and peace. He turned his pain into purpose, dedicating his life to helping others.
The most important thing in my Christian life was to know that I not only forgave him verbally, but to see him face to face and tell him that I forgave him.
Nelson Mandela.
I stand here before you, not as a prophet, but as a humble servant of you, the people.
Before he was a global icon, Nelson Mandela was a revolutionary. As a leader in the African National Congress, he fought against apartheid through protests, strikes, and eventually sabotage. His efforts earned him a life sentence, but prison bars couldn't hold back Nelson Mandela's spirit. Jailed for 27 years, he endured hard labor, isolation, and relentless attempts to break his will.
This, his final plea for freedom and democracy for all South Africans, was to echo down the 27 years he was to remain a political prisoner.
Mandela chose resilience over bitterness. Upon his release in 1990, he led the charge to dismantle apartheid peacefully, negotiating a democratic transition rather than seeking revenge. In 1994, he became South Africa's first black president. Even after stepping down, he remained a global icon for justice. Thousands attended his funeral in 2013, which was also watched by millions more on television.
I wanted to be presented as I am, and I'm an ordinary human being with weaknesses.
Irena Sendler. As DC Comics was first conceptualizing Wonder Woman in the pages of their comics, a real-life superhero was walking the streets of Nazi-occupied Poland. Irena Sendler smuggled around 2,500 Jewish children out of the Warsaw Ghetto, saving them from death.
My name is Irena. Can you tell me yours?
As an infectious disease nurse, she went door to door begging families to let her get their children out. The Gestapo caught her and brutally tortured her. She endured all the pain they could throw at her, never giving up a single name. Sentenced to execution, she was miraculously saved when the resistance bribed a guard. Her efforts might have been lost to history if it wasn't for the efforts of 3 teens in Kansas to bring her story to light 60 years later.
And let us reflect on those Polish women who took the Jewish children in and brought them up as their own.
Ernest Shackleton.
He'd make the right decision in order to survive, and through very practical and bold behavior, he succeeded.
When most explorers faced disaster, they perished. When Ernest Shackleton faced it, he became a legend. In 1914, his ship, the aptly named Endurance, became trapped in Antarctic ice. He and his crew were left stranded in one of the harshest environments on Earth. Shackleton was the right man at the right time. His earlier expeditions saw him battling starvation, frostbite, and near-fatal illness. With no rescue in sight, Shackleton led his men on an 800-mile journey in lifeboats.
Their 3 small lifeboats would carry all 28 men on a journey that would last no one knew how long.
They endured frigid, storm-ridden seas before reaching help. Against impossible odds, every single crew member survived. Even after surviving the Antarctic, Shackleton couldn't stay away. His final journey to the icy continent ended with a fatal heart attack.
Ernest Shackleton, the boss, has come to take them home.
Harriet Tubman.
In 1849, she escaped from this place.
Right here?
Right here.
A place called Poplar Neck in Caroline County, Maryland.
Most people would have been broken by the life Harriet Tubman endured. She, however, never gave up, instead becoming one of the most fearless freedom fighters in American history. Born into slavery, she suffered brutal beating and a traumatic head injury that left her with seizures and visions for the rest of her life. Tubman didn't just escape, she risked everything to return, guiding dozens of enslaved people to freedom through the Underground Railroad.
Tubman decided to focus all her energy on helping enslaved people navigate the dangerous journey to freedom.
When the Civil War broke out, she became a Union spy, scout, and even led an armed raid to free over 700 people. Even in old age, she fought for women's rights and established a home for the elderly. Chains, war, and illness couldn't break her. She was simply unstoppable.
Praying for me when I was sick, asking God to keep me well.
I asked God how a sickly little boy could think he owned me.
Hiro Onoda.
いかなる報奨も期待するな。最後の秘密を教える。秘密戦唯一の報奨とは忠誠だ。
Most soldiers return home after a war. Hiro Onoda didn't. He refused to believe it ever ended. A Japanese intelligence officer during World War II, Onoda was stationed on Lubang Island in the Philippines. He took his orders to never surrender literally. When the war ended in 1945, he dismissed the news as enemy propaganda. For 29 years, he survived in the jungle, raiding villages and engaging in skirmishes. He was convinced that Japan was still fighting. In 1974, his former commanding officer was flown in to formally relieve him of duty. Only then did Onoda finally lay down his rifle. His return to the world was both celebrated and controversial. While his loyalty was remarkable, his long war had cost lives.
参謀部別班所属の各部隊及び関係者は直ちに戦闘及び工作を停止、それぞれ最寄り上級士官の指揮下に入るべし。
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Nades Popova. Modern fighter pilots rely on high-tech planes and powerful weapons. Nades Popova and her all-female squadron, the Night Witches, fought the Nazis with wooden biplanes and sheer will.
Это был единственный в мире полк, в котором воевали одни женщины.
Popova flew over 850 bombing missions, cutting her engine before swooping in silently to drop explosives on German forces. The risk was astronomical. She was shot down several times and lost comrades along the way. Despite these setbacks, she kept flying. Even after her home was occupied and her family displaced, she refused to quit. The Nazis hated and feared the Night Witches so much they gave them their infamous nickname. Popova, unfazed, simply kept proving them right. Do you know of more inspiring tales of human resilience through horrible adversity? Let us know in the comments below.
They are well trained and fiercely committed to defending their homeland.